Now, when Buddhism first comes to China, it comes in a later, what might be called a later version. It comes as what's called greater vehicle or Mahayana Buddhism. The first mention of Buddhism is in Eastern Han. It comes in with traders. Its thing actually seems to belong to foreign traders more than anything else. There are also Buddhist communities in South Asia, and there's a sea route that connects China with that. And the South Asian communities of Buddhism are still today practicing what's called Theravada Buddhism, a different kind of Buddhism. Mahayana has some certain qualities that are worth noting, because that, in the 3rd and 4th century, when Buddhism really gets established, this is the kind of Buddhism that becomes popular. In this Buddhism, Buddha exists to save the world. The Buddha is a transcendent divinity. It can be worshipped, it can be honored, and you can have faith in this Buddha. He is the person, the figure who's come to save the world from suffering. So note the shift now that's taken place from, if life is suffering, I have to empty myself of desires, I have to cease desires in order to be saved, from now that Buddha is somebody I can turn to for salvation. That's a characteristic of Mahayana. There are bodhisattvas. These are beings that are enlightened and want to save the world, to help save the world too, but have not entered nirvana by their own choice because they're staying here to help us. And the most important of these bodhisattvas today in China is Guanyin Pusa, the bodhisattva Guanyin, right, who hears the suffering of the world. The great texts of Mahayana Buddhism, in fact, the greatest text of Mahayana Buddhism is this Miao Fa Lianhua Jing, the Lotus Sutra. And the Lotus Sutra brings with it a very important doctrine, the doctrine of expedient means. And what that means in Chinese Fangbian, what that means is simply that the Buddha preaches at the level people can understand, at the level people are capable of understanding. It's a text constructed from poetic portions that are restated in prose form, but it also has within it a series of parables. The final part of Mahayana Buddhism I want to point to is that Mahayana Buddhism claims that salvation is possible for lay people, not only for monks and nuns, but lay people can be saved as well. Now, I mentioned that the Lotus Sutra contains parables. And the first of the parables in the Lotus Sutra is the parable of the burning house, the most important of all the parables. We've included it here. We'd like you to read it and give us an account of in what way this parable can serve as an introduction to Buddhist faith. And when you've done that, I'll come back and I'll give you my quick read on it.